Catholic Moments, episode 142, Greatness in Our Teenagers.
Catholic Moments is sponsored by CatholicMatch.com, the leading Catholic singles community. Being single can be a challenge. Catholic Match helps make it a little easier. To get started today, visit CatholicMatch.com/Lisa.
Finding joy in the journey and hope in the heaven yet to come.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Moments. And now, here's your host and my mom, Lisa Hendey.
Thanks, Eric, and welcome to everyone to another episode of Catholic Moments, the show from CatholicMom.com, where we talk about all things faith, family, and fun from a Catholic perspective. And happy Easter, everyone! As we celebrate the octave of Easter, I'm so happy to be with you for another great show. We're going to feature a fantastic brother and sister combo interview where we look at the topic of greatness in our teenagers with Peter and Filomena Tassi. And we've got, as usual, contributions from our normal team members here on Catholic Moments, and so happy to be with you after a little break in podcasting. The last month was somewhat busy, and so we took last week off for Holy Week, but I'm really happy to be with you this week. You know, it's interesting that we should be talking this week on the topic of greatness in teenagers. I actually have shared with you in the past that I pre-record my interviews, and so I play them back to you in the order in which I record them, and I honestly never really know what interview I'm going to be pulling out each week for the show when I get ready to sit down and do my show prep. So it's very interesting that this topic should come up this week because I've been thinking an awful lot lately about greatness in teenagers. Many of you know that I'm a mom of 2 teenage sons, and some of you who know me well know that we spent last week during Holy Week traveling around and looking at colleges because the time has come for our Catholic Moments podcast announcer, the young Eric Hendey, to be graduating from high school very soon and heading off to college. So he is right now at this moment discerning his college decision. And last week as a family, we traveled back east, flew into New York City, and then spent a few days looking at colleges in New York and Manhattan, then headed over for some of the Ivy League college visits, summing up with the focal point of the trip, which happened on Thursday, April 1st, For any of you who have high school students who are applying to college this year, you know that April 1st is sort of a big day in the realm of college applications because that's the day when many colleges online announce their application decisions. So all around the country at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, students were logging on to these various college websites to find out what their situation was. And so we had been to Yale University the day of April 1st to go for a little college visit and had our college tour and had visited the library and sat in on an information session and just the usual things that you do when you go to visit a college. We knew that that was kind of a long shot for Eric. It's a very difficult school to get into. So we went and had dinner, and we're sitting in a Starbucks across the street from Yale at 5 o'clock in the evening when Eric logged on to check his various Ivy League colleges that he applied to. Well, he has worked very diligently, as have many of your children as well who are preparing for college, and was so happy to find out that he was admitted to Harvard University. So we jumped in the car and drove over to Boston for a quick, less than 24-hour visit to Harvard in Cambridge. Had a beautiful day of sunshine and spring weather. We're able to go over to, I believe it's St. Paul's, which is the Catholic student parish for Harvard, and spend Good Friday with the folks at St. Paul's and touring around campus and visiting. He still has a big decision ahead of him. He's got lots of great opportunities. And so if you join me this week in just praying for my son and for all the other kids out there, high school kids who are trying to discern their college decisions at this point, they have until April 1st to make that decision. And Eric has a few schools that he has it narrowed down to. So I'm asking you to join me in praying not only for my son, but for all the future leaders of our church out there who are praying right now about what their future holds for them. So congratulations to our Catholic Moments announcer for all of his great results. And it seems very timely to talk about greatness in our teens this week and to look at truly the future of our church with Peter and Filomena Tassi. So we'll do that this week. But before then, I want to gratefully thank again our sponsor, CatholicMatch.com, the leading source for online community for Catholic singles, and thank them for another commitment of another month to the Catholic Moments podcast for their kind support and sponsorship of this program. I'd like to point you over to CatholicMatch.com/Lisa for a great place for you if you're single, or for friends or relatives if you have friends or relatives who might be looking for that special someone. You know, our own Deacon Tom Fox shared with me that an acquaintance in his parish successfully met a future spouse through CatholicMatch.com and is living out a very happy married life now right there in their parish with Deacon Tom and Dee Fox. So we know that service provided by CatholicMatch.com is an incredibly valuable one for people looking to meet like-minded men or women who share their values. So check out CatholicMatch.com/Lisa. And now, speaking of Deacon Tom Fox, let's hear from him with this week's Deacon Moment.
Alleluia. Well, we've all just celebrated the most beautiful time of liturgies and remembrances from the life of Jesus, and I prayerfully wish you a continuing period of joy and grace as gifts from the risen Savior. If you pay attention to the faith that is a part of your life, of the faith that you are living out, how are you doing? Did Lent and the Triduum and Easter set your faith on fire anew? Were you able to go to the Easter Vigil Mass? Wasn't it moving to see new converts coming into the Catholic faith? Even though I've been through it as a deacon many times, it still lifts my mind and heart to higher levels of emotion and fervor. After the Triduum and the Easter Vigil, my heart seems more on fire. My desire to be closer to the Lord is stronger. I feel renewed and as if I've experienced yet another conversion in my mind and heart. This reminds me of the passion and fire that I've heard in the work of Deacon Alex Jones. I wonder if you know of him. Alex was a Protestant Pentecostal pastor from Detroit. As pastor, he decided to draw the people of his charge closer to the practices of the early church. As Alex studied the early church fathers and historical documents, he found himself with more and more questions which were not answered until Alex decided that he was being called to become a Catholic. In a much longer story, he left his Protestant faith, and when Alex entered the church at the Easter Vigil, he and his wife Donna and 62 members of the Maranatha Pentecostal Church became Catholics. Talk about an Easter Vigil. Well, I've met Alex. I've listened to him at Franciscan University. He still has that zeal and enthusiasm that is often the mark of a convert to the true church. He speaks with a healthy dose of Pentecostal persuasion and expression. I recommend you buy his book or DVD. The title is No Price Too High. As we now enter the period of evangelization and stories from the Acts of the Apostles, here is what Alex Jones reminds us of. Evangelization means renewal of the inner person with the word of Christ, the teaching Christ. The core of evangelization is bringing about conversion, an inner conversion brought by the Holy Spirit through grace-filled moments and leading to a life more conforming to the image of Christ. Christ was on fire for love of God and mankind. You know, I'm trying, but I need your help. This is Deacon Tom. Easter blessings.
Thanks so much, Deacon Tom, for introducing us to Alex Jones. You know, I never heard that story before, and it makes me want to go do some research into him and his writings and teaching. So thanks so much for sharing that. And, it is so wonderful to have that injection of Easter Triduum spirit back into our faith life. And I feel refreshed and renewed after having taken last week off and really having time to focus on Holy Week and on my family and on the celebration of Easter. So thank you, Deacon Tom. And let's next hear from Lisa Mladnick with this week's Amazing Minute.
Hi, this is Lisa Mladnick from AmazingCatechist.com with another Amazing Minute. Let's have a little fun with a neglected subject that is critical to our development as catechists. Since these podcasts are a lot like good old-fashioned radio, here's my commercial for the sacrament that dares not speak its name. Feeling tired, run down, discouraged? Think Jesus hasn't been answering your prayers lately? How would you like to get back in the game so quick it'll make the enemy's head spin? Get some religion, get your groove back, clean your windows, and let the light of the Lord shine right through you and out to the world? Well, you're in luck. Right now, at no charge, you, my friend, can get back in the race with some sanctifying grace. Discover the elation of reconciliation, free at last, free of charge, at a Catholic parish near you, where a priest is waiting to take your call. Get back in the game. Get back to confession. This has been a public service announcement from your friends at AmazingCatechist.com. Thank you, and God bless you.
Nice work, Lisa, and thanks for that great public service announcement about reminding us to get back to confession. And everyone also needs to get over to AmazingCatechist.com and check out the great work that Lisa and her team are doing over there. And next up, we have a postcard from spring break from our dear friend Avery. Here she is with this week's Teen Moment.
Hi, everybody. This is Avery from the Live WTL podcast. We're not going to have a teen moment this week because I'm actually on spring break right now, but here's just a little postcard from my spring break vacation. I've really been enjoying relaxing and spending time with my relatives for the last couple days and celebrating Easter, and now I'm actually getting ready to celebrate my 14th birthday in a few days. So I hope all of you guys have had a wonderful and a blessed and a relaxing Easter, and I really look forward to talking to all of you again on next week's Teen Moment.
Hey, Avery, if I could sing, I'd be singing happy birthday to you right now, but I won't subject you to that. But happy 14th birthday, sweetie. I hope you have a fantastic spring break, and thank you for all the joy that you've brought us as a 13-year-old. We're again talking about greatness in our teenagers this week, and Avery is a great example of an absolutely great Catholic teen. So thanks for your contributions, Avery. Check her out at www.livewtl.com. Next up on today's episode of Catholic Moments, I'm very happy to welcome two guests to the program. They're a brother and sister who have been doing phenomenal work to aid families. And let me just tell you a little bit about each of them. Our first guest is Peter Tassi. Peter is a chaplain with adult education, and he's a produced and published writer with nonfiction books, a feature film, and a musical play. Peter's also worked in missions in Africa, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Mexico, returning home and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for these missions. And now a little bit about our next guest, Filomena Tassi. Filomena has served as a high school chaplaincy leader for the past 13 years. She's a wife and a mother of 2 teenage children, and she has her law degree and practiced for 6 years prior to becoming a chaplain. She, and along with another colleague, have created 2 great programs to assist youth, and we're so happy to welcome to the show today Peter and Filomena Tassi. Welcome, both of you. Peter, why don't you start off by telling our audience a little bit about your family of origin and a little bit more about you and Filomena as brother and sister.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks for having us on your program. Yeah, we're a family of 4 children. I'm the oldest, Filomena's the youngest, and there's a brother and sister in between. We're a very close-knit family, Italian background, and we've always been a close-knit family, and we attribute that to our parents. We've got wonderful, beautiful parents. Our father's now passed away, but he was always our hero and our mentor all through our life. A very prophetic and profound man, very spiritual, and has always been an inspiration to us. And in many ways, he's inspired us in our writing of our books and the things that we have to say and the way that we work with kids.
So, Filomena, tell me what inspired the two of you to get together to write your book, which is entitled Greatness in Our Teenagers, a 10-step guide for parents and educators. Tell us about what inspired this book.
I think what happened there, Lisa, was that Peter and I combined have over 25 years experience in working with kids, and they've taught us a lot during that time. And our experience has revealed that oftentimes teenagers are, misunderstood, and you see greatness within them, but for some reason it's not revealed. So what happened was the two of us talked about this, and Pete said that he thought that we should write something and that would help both parents and educators to bring out that greatness that is in there. I mean, that's one of the most frustrating things is when you see these kids that are full of potential and that potential is not being realized. So that was the sort of what sparked it, and we knew that it would be a benefit both to the kids who need to be understood as well as to the adults that are working with the kids.
So, Peter, tell me a little bit about how the book is formatted before we get into your work with teens.
Yes. Well, as Filomena was saying, the reason why we wrote the book, but the other thing, Lisa, is really the book is inspired by the kids. Like we just put down what kids basically revealed to us over the years of working with them as to what works for them. So this 10-step formula is laid out in a way that shows parents and educators different avenues they can explore to bring out the greatness in the kids. And, of course, the book starts with begin with yourself, because we always have to begin with ourselves and look at the ways in which we have to change and the things we have to do to ourselves to better understand kids, to be a more forgiving, merciful person, more unconditionally loving person. And from that chapter, the first chapter, then we offer a number of things that we can do that parents can do to bring out the greatness that are in kids.
Filomena, I think our kids today have to deal with a lot of problems that I don't know what age you are, but I know the age that I am, and I certainly didn't have to deal with half of the things that my kids have to deal with these days. I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, and I think that the introduction of technology into our universe, I'm a huge fan of it. I love the internet and I love the ability to text and all that good stuff, but it's created a unique culture that our kids these days are growing up in, and they face so many struggles with choices early on that we didn't have to deal with. What do you have to say about this impact on our teens, and how can we as parents help them through so much of this?
Well, there's absolutely no question that does present great challenges. I think that what we have to caution ourselves is that we think that kids are, very connected because they have all of these means of communicating with each other, the eye touch, the computers, the Xbox Live, all these different things that the kids are connected to. But we have to be careful because even though they're connected in that way, it's more important that they feel comfortable and that they don't feel alone. And so I think one of the problems with teens today is this sense of loneliness, and it's I think it's sort of accelerated or fostered that we need to ensure that we don't think that they're not alone. Many kids are alone, and we need to reach to them in order to reach out to them without the technology, one-to-one relationships, in order to give them a sense of belonging, and we talk about that in the book. So there's no question the expectations are higher because the communication is faster, everything seems more structured, and this presents a lot of problems for teens which are foreign to us, and we just have to be willing to understand them. And in order to do that, we need to talk to them and better understand what their life is like day to day.
Peter, I know that both you and Filomena are involved so much with spiritualism and a real, heart for helping other people. How does the faith that you were brought up with impact on the writing that you've done and the work that you're doing with kids these days?
Yeah, you know, our parents, Lisa, they were the type of people that, in their own way, always reached out to people. They don't do it, Filomena and I do, in terms of going to the third world and working with the poor and working in those countries, but they worked in their own community in a very intimate way with so many people who were always in need of help. They always had an open door policy in the house. The house was always filled with people from all walks of life. And we saw our parents as very loving, caring, sensitive people. And I think that rubbed off on us. And for some reason, Filomena and I don't know why, but we've always had a special place in our heart for the poor in the third world. Not just the poor at home. We fundraise for here too, but especially the poor in the third world. And we've both been really inspired by the missionaries. I think with each trip and with each project, we get so inspired by our Catholic brothers and sisters and missionaries in the third world that it motivates us, it propels us kind of to go to another country to raise more money. And so this is a real a mission where we get a lot of satisfaction. I'm sorry. The other thing too is that the kids have inspired us a lot. Like the kids in high school, it's amazing how interested they are in justice issues. They always want to be working in that cause, whether it's justice issues at home or the third world. They have a real special place in their heart for the poor, for the underdog, for the oppressed, for the persecuted. They just naturally move in that direction. And whenever you reach out to kids as chaplains and ask for help in terms of fundraising or anything like that, they not only spearhead projects, they literally beg to go to the third world, which Filomena does through her Dreams Project, and work with these people. So it's kind of an accumulation of many people inspiring us in many different ways.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing, and I see that in my own children. They attend a public high school, but it's really interesting that the largest student organization at that high school is a service club, and that fully a quarter of the student body are active members of that club that meets weekly, and they've done some amazing projects. And you're right, they really do have a heart to serve people. So I think that's a beautiful opportunity that you guys are offering. Filomena, one of the things that, gets talked about in parenting issues is the topic of discipline. And I know that with my own teenage sons, a lot of times you'll hear about something or discover something that you think you need disciplining, and they're usually at school when this particular topic comes up, and so by the time I get to them, I've gotten myself all fired up with what my plans are for teaching them through discipline or whatever. And then I often have to remind myself to kind of stop and listen to them, what they're saying, as far as their side of it, not to have my mind completely made up from what I think a disciplinary issue should be. Can you just say a few words about that topic, about the topic of discipline in teens, and how we can sort of understand their perspective in all this?
Yes. Discipline is a very important thing, and I think that often Peter and I are sort of accused of being such strong kid advocates that we forget about discipline, and that's not the case. Discipline is very important, and the interesting thing is that kids can accept discipline. There's no problem with a kid accepting being disciplined for things that they did wrong. They know that they make mistakes, sometimes they make poor choices, and they will accept the discipline. The key with disciplining kids that Peter and I both have found is that it must be rooted in love. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm the same way. I can get fired up about something. I have to make sure I calm myself down, both with my own children, my 2 teenage children, and with kids in school. Sometimes they'll do things. But the important thing there is that if the discipline is rooted in love, and that you're really disciplining them because you care about them. It's not a personal thing where you're getting revenge or you're getting back at them for them doing something wrong. Then they can accept it. The second thing is that it must be fair and just. So the punishment must sort of suit the crime, so to speak. And the best thing that we found for this is to involve kids in that dialogue. It's important to say to kids, what do you think is fair in this? So as opposed to it being a heated argument and it escalating and getting right out of control and then sort of regretting things you said, you just try and distance yourself personally from your own disappointment that's happened in the child's behavior and try and include them in, okay, what do you think would be fair and just in here? And if you live that and are consistent in your disciplining and rooted in love, then kids will accept discipline. They'll have no problem with that. And I think and some of them will feel it as a form of penance and feel good that they're serving it, because then it makes them feel better about the mistake they made and it helps them turn around their lives.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think so often that they're so, I love what you said about fair and just. I know that in my home, from a very early age, I told my kids, I think I'm raising two future either lawyers or politicians, because it didn't do to set a rule to say, like, whatever, your bedtime is 9 o'clock or something, without having my ducks in a row as far as when I knew they were going to come to me and say why and what's the reason behind this. And they didn't always necessarily even want it changed. They just wanted to have a voice in the situation. So I think that a lot of what you say in this book is so pertinent. I want to remind our listeners again that we're speaking with brother and sister Peter and Filomena Tassi, and they are the authors of a wonderful book entitled Greatness in Our Teenagers. And we're running short on time. I do want to point you to their great website, which is called greatnessinteens.com. You'll find some really super resources over there. And Peter, are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you guys get back to your work?
Well, I just want to thank you, Lisa, for having us on. It's a great opportunity for us to share with your listeners the book and the work we do, and we're very grateful for that. And just to let parents know that to finalize that don't give up hope, because with Jesus there is always hope and anything is possible.
Amen to that. And Filomena, I always like to let ladies have the last word. So any parting words of wisdom that you might have for parents who might be listening today?
Yeah, very nice of you, Lisa. I think that just 2 quick points. The first is that this book is really rooted in faith. I mean, it's Jesus's living witness and words that we have tried to put into words as concrete examples and guide for parents and educators. And then secondly, I think it's critical that we as adults celebrate the success of our kids. And the book is filled with very good stories about kids that are true. Names have changed, but the stories are true. And also we've established the website greatnessinteens.com. And I would encourage parents to go on and share their wonderful stories about kids, because it's important that we believe in them, and one of the ways of believing in them is to start proclaiming all the great things that they do, because they're made in the image of God, and let's face it, if we give them a chance, they reveal that clearly.
I love it. And, I think that we hear so much in society today about kids who are messing up. Why not, flood the world with great, there are far more great kids out there than the bad ones. So thank you so much for putting that in such a positive light. Again, the name of the book is Greatness in Our Teenagers, and the authors are Peter and Filomena Tassi. I thank both of you for being with us today, and God bless you in your work.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thanks again to Peter and Filomena, and I want to remind you to head over to www.greatnessinteens.com for more news and information on all the great work that they're doing to lift up Catholic families around the world. So thanks again to Peter and Filomena. And next, let's hear a little bit of listener feedback from good friend of the show, Daniel.
Hi, Lisa. This is Daniel from Chicago, the host of the Pentecostal Podcast at Pentecostal.tk. I just wanted to leave some feedback. I have finished listening to episode 141 of Catholic Moment on my train ride, and I'm on the way home. And I just want to let you know that I really enjoyed your interview with Robert Rogers. I found his words really touching and inspirational, and I also want to let you know that I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to talk to Dan Popple in the studio on my college radio show, and everything went so smoothly, and I just want to share with you, listeners, and Ustream and you can see us in the studio. So I'll try to send you a link to that. But I want to let you listeners know that I'm on my way to my Twitch for a connected play that put it on, in which I'm helping with lighting. So I'm on my way off the train now, so I'll stop playing with that. So much to you, and I look forward to seeing you in next month here in Chicago. So keep up the great work, Lisa, and God bless. Bye.
Hey, Daniel, it's sounding a little windy over there in Chicago. Thanks so much for calling in about our show with Robert Rogers. What a tremendous guy. And if you didn't hear episode 141, I hope you'll go back and listen to it for a very inspirational conversation with a family man who just has faith that shines like crazy. And Daniel, you and I are going out for coffee next week. Hey, everybody in Chicago and South Bend, Indiana, I am going to be visiting next week. I'll be arriving on Monday, doing a private event Tuesday night, and then Wednesday night at the Pauline Book and Media Center on Michigan Avenue in Chicago at 6:30 p.m. We're going to throw open the doors and have what they're calling a mom's night out, but actually everyone's welcome to come and hear a brief talk about my new book, The Handbook for Catholic Moms, and have a little meet and greet. So if you're an SQPN listener, I'd love it if you could make your way out to that event. I don't have the exact address for the book center on Michigan Avenue, but if you come on over to lisahendey.com or catholicmom.com this week, I'll have information on that event. And then plus the following Saturday, April 17th at 1 o'clock p.m., I will be at the Hams bookstore at the University of Notre Dame doing a small presentation about the book and signing books, and would love to meet you there as well if you're living anywhere near South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame, Indiana. Love to have you come out. There's going to be a brief reception, some snacks and refreshments, and we'll be going there from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on April 17th. So, and in the midst of that, I get to have coffee with Daniel. So I'm so excited to hopefully meet some of our Chicago and South Bend area CatholicMom.com and Catholic Moments and SQPN friends of the show. So come on out. If you have any questions, drop me an email to lisa@CatholicMom.com. And that's the same place where you can send feedback, or even better, call our voice feedback line like Daniel did. It's 206-339-9272. Again, 206-339-9272. Be my friend on Facebook or on Twitter, or call that voice feedback line, or just drop us an email. We love to hear from you, and your feedback really makes this show. We're going to close out now with two special treats. The first is our Merry Moment this week from good friend and one of my favorite bloggers, Sarah Reinhardt of SnoringScholar.com. And we'll follow up her wonderful Merry Moment reflection with a song by Matthew Bowdy, a great Catholic musician. And I thought this would be very fitting leading up to the Divine Mercy Sunday. This song is called It Is Mercy, and it's from Matthew's album River of Grace, a great new CD he has out. I hope you enjoy the song, and I hope you enjoy this week's Merry Moment, and we'll see you next week. And here's Sarah.
Hello, my name's Elizabeth.
And my name's Sarah Reinhardt. It's time for Merry Moment.
My devotion to the Divine Mercy Chaplet goes back to my early days of Catholicism, when it was included on the free CD that I used to learn the Rosary. For one thing, it was quick, and unlike the Rosary, that had me fumbling and mumbling, the Divine Mercy Chaplet rolled right off my tongue. I forgot about it for a while, until the novena before Divine Mercy Sunday would roll around each year, or until I'd have a special request or a special set of stressors. Then, last year, I found the sung version. All of a sudden, it became easier to pray. Part of my iPod experience. Recently, I started listening to it before I listened to my daily dose of podcasts. It's changed my approach to my days. I've always struggled with patience and calmness, not naturally possessing either.
But I find that by injecting my mornings with this song prayer, I'm playing offense. Last year, there were mornings driving my oldest to preschool, feeling pressure to be on time and to get to work and to balance my checkbook. They all seem unrelated, but somehow they were all related in my mind. And the words of the Divine Mercy Chaplet in that song would just wash over me and literally stop my mind in its tracks. Forgive me if I'm making it sound magical or mystical. It's not magic. It's not mysticism. It is prayer that's unlike any other prayer for me, though very similar to my experience with the sung rosary. The other day, as I had the Divine Mercy Chaplet blaring out during my shower, I was interrupted by a 5-year-old wanting to play the anything game. This is a guessing game we play, where we take turns giving each other clues and guessing. We play it all the time. And she's actually pretty good at stumping me. Hearing her sincere belting out of the song, punctuated by, "Mom, your turn," made me smile. It also made me think about how Mary must have used prayer in her daily life. I'm pretty sure she had a fair share of stress in her life. Life back in those days was hard in a way few of us can appreciate. She wasn't rich, and she didn't have the luxury of sitting down for a few minutes of me time. I wonder, though, how prayer played a part in Mary's life, how conversation with God, both the talking and the listening, worked in her life. When she woke up to the silent house, everyone else still barely asleep, did she share those precious, still moments with God? As she scrubbed, did she silence herself and wait for the small voice to pierce through the activity? As she prepared food, did she laughingly recount Jesus' latest antics to his Father? Before collapsing at night on her bed, did she offer a thankful psalm of praise? The Divine Mercy Chaplet has taught me a lot about Mary. As I contemplate the words in their cycle, I see her as a guide to understanding God's infinite mercy. The words become a way to keep my restless self busy as my mind delves deeper into the idea of how much God must really love me. He gave me his Son. His Son said yes to the cross. Though the language feels old-fashioned at first, it also reminds me of the timelessness of God. Though it always feels like I don't have time, like I can skip it just this once, like I can save it for later, I need the daily reminder of God's mercy and love. Until next week, my friends, may the Divine Mercy Chaplet anchor you in hope, with Mary guiding you to a deeper understanding of her Son.
Mercy, it is mercy you desire, not sacrifice. It is mercy you desire, and not sacrifice. It is mercy. My offering, oh God, is my spirit full of sorrow. Empty words you would not accept, but look upon my heart, humble. It is mercy. mercy you desire, not sacrifice. It is mercy. It is mercy you desire, not sacrifice. It is mercy. Turn away, oh God, your face from my sin. Let me hear the sound of gladness and forgiveness, and I will dance for joy. It is mercy. It is mercy you desire, and not sacrifice. It is mercy. When I clothe the poor and work for peace, when I forgive my enemies and feed the hungry and help the sick, I offer the sacrifice you wish, reaching out to those in need. I pass on what I've received, the gift of mercy that sets me free. It is mercy you desire, and not sacrifice. It is mercy. It is mercy you desire, and not sacrifice.
It is mercy. It is mercy. It is mercy. It is mercy. It is mercy
you want from me.
It is mercy
that sets me free.
It is mercy
that brings us peace.
It is
SQPN, leading the way in Catholic new media.